Hey everybody, welcome back to the GameSpot stage on the final day of E3. I'm your host Cam Robinson here for the next 2 hours before I hand back to Chris Waters, or wait no, I think it's Daniel Dwyer is taking this stage home at the end. But I'm joined right now by Mr. Matt Higby. How you doing, Matt? Good to have you on stage. So Matt, what is a beautiful game that you make that lots of people play online and shoot each other in?
Yeah, that's right. Planetside 2. It's a massively multiplayer first-person shooter. It allows thousands of players to directly and simultaneously fight with each other in massive battles that use air vehicles, ground vehicles, intense infantry action. All of it takes place in 64 square kilometer continents, so enormous handcrafted maps that players are able to play on. And, it's a persistent, free-to-play shooter game, and it's available now on the PC. And we're going to be bringing it this year to the PlayStation 4.
And that's why you're here, right? Because
that's what I'm here to talk about.
That loads of people have been enjoying on the PC. Like, I mean, if you look at I was looking at some of the reviews and various things online. Like, the desire for this game is huge. Like, how big is your audience on PC?
We have a lot of players, and one of I think the main reasons is because there's just not another game like Planetside 2 out there. When we first started talking about Planetside 2, we had all these players who had really loved the original game, and they said, hey, I really love an MMO FPS game, but nothing else came along that really gave them that experience until Planetside 2 came out. So we kind of had this almost like captive, passionate, dedicated audience that was just waiting for the next big thing. And ever since we've started working on Planetside 2, those guys have been great. It's been growing. Planetside 2 has far more players than Planetside 1 ever had. And, every day we're listening to our players, trying to add new stuff for them, and trying to grow the game in exactly the way that they want to see it grow.
Okay, so before we come on to exactly what it's going to be like on the PlayStation 4 and what owners of the PS4 can expect from Planetside 2, let's just, in case anyone watching who's never heard of the game or never played it, let's kind of go into detail about how it works.
Okay.
So if I was to sign up right now and play, how would I go through? What would be the first thing I do?
So right now what you would do is you would go to planetside2.com, you would sign up for an account, and you would download it.
Okay.
And depending on your internet connection, a few minutes to a few hours later, you would be able to jump right into the game. And depending on how good your PC is, you would be able to run it at settings like we're seeing here. This is running at pretty ultra graphic settings.
Yeah.
But obviously you can go all the way down. But this would be the equivalent of what players on the PS4 would expect to see, this kind of level of graphic fidelity.
Gotcha.
And then in Planetside 2, there's 3 different empires that you select from. Each one has access to unique vehicles, unique weapons, kind of its own style of the way that they approach combat. And you choose an empire, you put your character in, and you have a persistent character that you then can play forever. You can add hundreds of hours of customization and personalization into the game by, getting your kit set up exactly the way that you want for your vehicles or for your infantry. There's so much depth to the different roles that are available for you to unlock and play, and it's all available for free right from the get-go.
Fantastic. So when you make that choice, because there's the 3 factions, right? There's the kind of culty ones, there's the rebel ones, and then there's the army ones, right? Kind of
pretty close.
Pretty much, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. If you don't mind my real simple way of breaking it down there.
No, that's pretty good.
Once you make that choice, can you change allegiance, or are you tied in?
That is one of the only choices in the game that's kind of permanent to your character.
Okay.
When you create a character, your gender, your name, and the empire that you're playing on, as well as the server that you're playing on, are pretty much fixed. Okay. But once you make those decisions, any class that you want to play, if you want to try playing a light assault, for instance, you can play as a light assault, and then if you need to be an engineer, no problem. You can go to an equipment terminal, switch to an engineer kit. You could put hundreds of hours into your engineer kit and switch over to a heavy assault when you're wanting to try that out. You can go earn certification points as a max or as a light assault and spend them on making your vehicles better if you want to. It's very free form, very open, and it's all designed around allowing players to fill the role that is needed right now for their team. Planetside at the end is a team-based game. It's thousands of people fighting against each other. So no matter how great you are at an FPS game, you're probably not going to be able to win a fight against 200 dudes. One player can do a lot in the game. You could definitely have our hero players that are able to wipe the floor with squads and stuff. But when you're working together with dozens of players, hundreds of players to accomplish big goals, it's a really impressive, amazing feeling. Having dozens of guys all crest a ridge at once heading for an objective is something you just don't get in any other game, period. So that team play aspect and the player customization aspect really work together. You have your guy kitted out to do exactly what your team needs right now. You can be an individual in that, but you're also helping out your group and helping out your team, helping out your empire.
Fantastic. So I mean, what are we looking at here? Can I describe what some of the gameplay that's going in here? So, or is this like a mashup, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean this is kind of.
So you've got vehicles. So you find them littered about the environments, or do you kind of purchase them, or how does all that kind
the
of
way
stuff
it works is in Planetside 2 you capture territory. So it's a completely persistent game again. So when you go and capture a base in the game, that base now is your base until someone comes and takes it away from you. And while your empire owns that base, all the players on that empire are earning resources for it. Those resources you can spend to get things like this max suit that we see on screen here, the vehicles that we were seeing earlier.
I was wondering how you get those suits. Like some of the guys look like really much more powerful, but that is from unlocks, is it?
That's
from
basically unlocked in gameplay. So it's not something that you unlock permanently, but you spend resources for it when you want to get it, and then when it dies, it's gone. But those resources are earned by what your empire is doing in the world. So that's how the strategic game kind of attaches to the moment-to-moment gameplay.
Gotcha.
And you can see here all these different vehicles and infantry that we're seeing in the game. Unlike a lot of other shooters, every single thing you see is another player. It's all 100% PvP. So when you see 50 airplanes flying overhead doing bombing runs, those are all filled up with dudes that you can go like you can go be allies with. You can go up and shoot all those dudes. It's not just like some cutscene. So everything you're seeing here is 100% driven by the combined arms strategy of players actually playing the game.
That's cool.
And this is just a capture on a live server. This wasn't some coordinated gameplay where we were like, hey, we need these 600 extras to come and log in so we can film a trailer, right? That's not possible. We go onto our live server with a camera account and follow around fights and capture footage. This is what normal fights in Planetside 2 look like.
So you were just in like a ghost cam, just flying around.
That's exactly right.
Like,
we go find a couple big fights and film footage for a few hours. That's how we make these trailers. They're
awesome.
not attempted to be like a coordinated, filmed thing.
So you said it's like this kind of persistent world. So is there like a huge territory map that changes dynamically every time there's like a fight is won by one side or the other?
Each one of our continents is 64 square kilometers of handcrafted gameplay space. They have anywhere from 50 to 100 different bases on it, depending on which continent that you're on,
Yeah.
So each one of those bases can be captured and owned by one of the empires. And they are constantly contentious. So you have these battlefronts that just move based on where enemies are deciding to push, based on where your empire is deciding to push. Sometimes they'll let you push a few bases and not like try to resist until it gets to a key base that they really want to hold, that they have a defensive strategy for, and you have to break it. So it's entirely set up and entirely driven by players and their strategies for capturing these different bases. There's very few kind of barriers between players that we've kind of erected to say, oh, you can't fight here right now. It's more like we slam players into each other and let them push around the map however they want.
Fantastic. So these empires, the three that you can choose from, how do they affect how you're going to play the game from the offset? Is there different weapons, different vehicles, that type of stuff that you can get hold of depending on who you choose?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have... We want you to be able to enjoy the game no matter which one of the empires you choose. So we have very specific empire weapons and themes, but they also kind of blend into each other a little bit.
Okay, so there'll be some things that everyone can use and some weapons that everyone can get, but then you'll have each empire will have a few things that, because
I like to kind of describe it like a Venn diagram, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at like all the assault rifles in the game, you can think of them like a Venn diagram. The highest damage ones are over on the new conglomerate, but the other two empires get high damage ones too, maybe not as much. They don't have as much emphasis on high damage, low firing rate, right? The Terran Republic, one of our other empires, is sort of the opposite. Less damage, very low recoil, very controllable weapons, but very fast fire rates, high ammo capacity, right? So they're kind of on the opposite end of the Venn diagram. And then the Vanu sovereignty is all about weapons that are kind of easy to manage. They allow for mobility, and they allow for a lot of different configurations. So they kind of have... They have the ability to sort of switch their weapons up and have them play in a lot of different roles. So they have adaptability, kind of. So you can kind of think of them as being down here. But there's a lot of crossover in the middle. So if you really like close quarters combat, you're not going to be asked out because you're on the new conglomerate. You're going to be able to get a weapon that allows you to function really well as a close quarters. Now, it might not be as good as the best close quarters weapon that the TR can get. And then you have all these really cool counterbalances of when I'm fighting against the Terran Republic, they have this kind of max. When I'm fighting against the NC, they have this kind of max. So the way that you're fighting against each other is a little bit different. The way the armor interacts with each other is a little bit different. And that creates these sort of asymmetrical strategies that you use while you're fighting different troops.
And so does that mean sometimes you get all three factions like fighting at the same time, vying over one base? So it's not just like one versus the other. All three are in there trying to capture the same point.
Yeah, the way our base design works and the way the flow on our continents works, we have kind of lanes almost, where these bases sort of connect to each other in a certain way, and these other bases kind of connect to each other in a certain way. And some lanes kind of encourage three-way fights, and other lanes kind of encourage more two-way fights, because these enemies are coming from these sides around like this.
All right, well, let's talk PlayStation 4.
Sure.
That's the big news here. So what's it been like bringing it to PS4? Is there anything that people who play on PS4 are going to get that people who play on PC don't? Is it like the exact same experience? all that kind of stuff?
Well, our plan right now is to bring the entire PC game over to the PS4 whole hog. And the biggest difference that players are going to see, if you were to load up Planetside 2 right now, put it on ultra settings, put it at 1080p, and run it on your TV, that's almost the experience that you're going to be getting on the PS4. We're running right now on 1080p. We're peaking over 60 frames per second. We still have a lot of optimization to do. The biggest difference that you would notice is the user interface, because we're completely taking all of these big, deep MMO menus, and we're making them be accessible and easy to use on the gamepad, on the DualShock 4. And so kind of our entire our largest goal with the entire process right now of bringing the game over to the PS4 is to make it not feel like a console port. We want it to feel like a native AAA console game that just happens to be completely free and happens to have thousands of players and persistence and all the other things that Planetside does that no other game does.
Fantastic. So, we did do a little throw out to Twitter, didn't we, just before we came on live? So let's just double check to see if anyone has sent in some questions. I think we might have. Yeah, we certainly seem to have a few here. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. So, question for you from Stuart Hopkins. Is there any kind of squad hierarchy, like private, general, etc.? So, can you level up in your squad as you go?
So in squads, we don't. We have a squad leader, and then we also have the other 11 members of the squad. And the squad leader can assign somebody else to be a squad leader if you want. There's lots of cool things that you can do with your squad.
Yeah.
But where we do have that functionality is in outfits. And outfits kind of create the backbone of the team play in Planetside 2. Outfits are our equivalent of guilds, if you're familiar with guilds from other MMO games. So in an outfit, you absolutely can set all kinds of different permissions for who can invite people into the outfit, what type of things they can do. Can they add our new outfit recruitment system that we're about to put into the game to allow outfits to say, this is the type of outfit we are, here's when we play, we're looking for recruits, and then players can browse those and find those. So permissions for that is something that the outfit can set. So all those permissions are in there, and it really allows for players to, again, it's a team play game. It really is about working together and coordinating with other players. So that team play aspect is really, really emphasized with the outfit gameplay.
Fantastic. Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure having you on stage. Thanks so much for coming on, man, and talking about Planetside 2. So you can play it right now. You
play
can
it right now. Go to planetside2.com right now. Download that damn game. Play it. Let us know what you think.
Keep watching this.
Open a new tab.
After E3 coverage. No new tabs.
No new tab. New tab. Go.